XRP, what are you doing? Let's look at the charts. So looking at the daily chart, it totally looks like we're in some type of accumulation range, meaning that we have this big rise, right? And then we had a crash, and then we had a retrace, and now we're in reaccumulation. And typically that means we're going to the upside, right? So that's basically how I'm seeing that. So it looks like you have this Wyckoff accumulation pattern where it could also be a 1 and a 2 and a 1, and now we're coming down for 2 before going higher. And this 2 leg right here, this down move that we could potentially get, could be the spring. Could be the spring in creating the massive pump that we need, because either that or either that could be the spring or this was the spring. And I don't like that this could be the spring, because it's not big enough, right? So in charts, you want to go, like in XRP, you want to go to the moon, right? That's the whole goal, right? You want to go to the freaking moon. You want to go way up as high as you possibly can to make the most amount of money, because that's why we're all here. We're here to make money. You know, this is what it's all about. It's about making as much money as you possibly can. So from a technical perspective, the chart has to give us that. And certain things need to happen in order for us to get an incredibly high price. Like most people, right? Most people, they just want it to go up and never stop. But if it did that, it would collapse for years. But instead of that, right? Instead of that, what we got was we had a rise. Wait, 1 second. Rise. We had a crash. We had a retrace, and now we're in reaccumulation. So that's where we're at. And the most important thing is the reaccumulation. That is the most important thing on planet Earth when it comes to XRP, is reaccumulation. Because the more whales accumulate, the more explosive the move will be. So what the reason why XRP is the most bullish chart on planet Earth when it comes to crypto, and basically anything for that matter, is one, we've been going in this sideways range for years. What does that mean? What does that mean, right? What does that mean? It means that this is a horizontal base of support. That's what that means. That's what that means. So this is a horizontal base of support. And I'm going to give you an example. If we go down here, you can see the same type of horizontal base of support. Right there, sideways. Okay, so looking at this structure right here, we had a rise, we had a crash, we had a retrace, and then we had reaccumulation, sideways, 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 reaccumulation, 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 blast off, right? Blast off. So so that enabled, right? That enabled this sideways consolidation, enabled this move here, right? So you buy XRP, right? You want to make money, right? Okay, well, the only way that's going to happen is if you get something like this. You have to have a base. Like, look at Dogecoin. Look at Dogecoin. Look how it shot up like a rocket, then it went sideways for a long time, and then Elon tweeted it, and boom. So basically that would be like Elon tweeting right here, and then it explodes. But we don't need Elon Musk, right? I'm not going to hedge my investment on a freaking Elon Musk tweet. That's so ridiculous. I mean, yeah, you can make money, but this is the big boys, right? This is the big leagues. This is the major leagues of crypto right here. So what is happening now? So we had this area here, which enabled this blast off. So now, guess what? We're doing the same dang thing, right? We had a rise, crash, reaccumulation, sideways, 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 blast off inside this box, inside this base. This is a base. The bigger the base, the higher in space. The bigger the base, the higher in space. So if you want XRP to go now, I want it to go now, I want it to go last year. Well, if it did that, then it wouldn't be as big as of a move. You are buying XRP. You want time to go by. The reason why people are impatient is because they want to get rich now, but it doesn't work that way. Because you have to, in order to get rich, in order to get really rich, you have to have a lot of time, right? Maybe you work at a job. You're working at a job and you get a paycheck. And you save some money and you put that money in XRP. Well, if it would have mooned last year, you would have never gotten your bag, right? Remember this run up here? We had the COVID dump, and then it came up here, and people were buying it, and then it went up, and then it crashed, and then they got depressed. Well, okay, good thing it happened, because if it didn't, it would have kept going, and your bag would have been a lot smaller than it is today. So time, look at all this time. This is years of sideways. This is allowing you the opportunity of a lifetime. Like just right here. Look, this one was short. This is 2014, 15, 16, and we blasted. So this was like what? 5, 6, 7. This was 3 years right here. So this was 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, right? Almost 5, 6 years if we get to 2024, right? So it's a good thing. It's a good thing that we're going sideways. So you got to have patience. You got to have a lot of patience, right? And not only that, just think, every time it goes sideways, it gets stronger. Every second that it trades in this box, it's developing strength. So look at this. Like, this is your gym right here. This is your gym. You go inside the gym and you're working out. You're pumping iron up and down and up and down and up and down. When you want to get strong and build muscle, you don't just lift it up. You got to lift it down and up and down, and that gets you stronger. Then you have muscles to show for it, and this is what the spring is right here. This whole thing is a spring to accelerate you to the upside. So now that we got that out of the way, let's look at what's happening on a shorter time frame. So as you know, this is the base. Look how big the base is, right? This base, same like this base, is going to allow for you to explode. It's going to allow for you to explode. And that's the whole point. Okay, so now we're going to zoom in and see what's happening. Where's the price going now? So, we go to the daily chart. So we've been in this structure for over a year now. So we've been in this. And so what's happening now is we're building a box within a box, right? So this is a good thing. This is telling us we're getting towards the end, basically, because if you look here, back in 2014, same kind of thing. It was a box within a box, and here's the box right here. So there's your box, there's your base, there's your range, whatever you want to call it. That is strength. So when people invest, right, they buy crypto and they buy it and it goes up and then yay, and then it goes down and they're like, oh, and then now they want to sell it and then they sell it and then it goes back up and then they buy it and then it goes back down. So basically what's happening is smart money is accumulating at the range and they're distributing it. So like, let's say you buy $1,000. You're a whale and let's say you buy $1 million, right? You're a whale. And then you get up here and then you'll sell like maybe 200,000. Then you come back down and then you'll buy like 500,000. Then you come back up here and you'll sell like 100,000. Then you come back down here and you'll buy another 500,000. So what they're doing is they're displacing the movement, right? So if you're a whale and you buy $1 million, you don't want it to just go straight up. They're smarter than that. Like retail. Most retail, you'll buy $1,000 and you're like, okay, let's go to the moon now. No, it doesn't work that way. You got to develop your base. You got to allow the whales to accumulate in here. So this is like a washing machine, up, down, right? It's a washing machine, but it's also a 1-2, 1-2, which is very bullish. So what needs to happen is price needs to finish its corrective phase. This is why I say be patient, be patient. People get, they start selling because they go, it's never going to moon. And then by the time that happens, it already goes out, right? So now we got that out of the way. This is our range. So what's happening in this range? Well, from an Elliott wave perspective, it looks like we have three. We have three, right? We have three. And now we could potentially have another 3, right? So, and then we can go. That's one way to look at it. That's one way. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but that's one way to look at it. You have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Logic will say 3, right? And that's what people might assume, but if history is any indication, that's what could potentially happen. But I'm not going to sit there and say that's what has to happen, because if you're retail, you got to be, there's smart money and there's retail. Retail's looking at this like, okay, you have 3 up and now you need 3 down. That could be the case. That could be the case. Or that's one way to look at it. And actually, you know what? This is what I want to happen. This is what I want. If I could pick anything, this is what I would want to happen. Let me show you why. If we have, we moved up in the range, we moved down in the range. It's basically it's a spring. You're releasing tension. You're coiling up the spring. So think of a spring, right? A spring is like this. This is a spring. And a spring has all this tension inside of it. That tension is building stronger and stronger and stronger. And eventually it releases all of its energy. So think of it like a shock or like a suspension. Okay? So in order for this spring to fulfill itself, what needs to happen is we have a spring, a spring, a spring, and now we need to develop this guy right here. This is the magic right here. We can get this, just like we got this right here, right? So we had this massive sell-off. We have this massive sell-off, and it sort of, pulled back, and we sprung, and then we came up, and now we need to spring again. So each time it does these springs right here, that is building up a lot of torque. It's a lot of torque. It's a lot of suspension. It's a lot of coiling up. It's like a spring. And this will enable it to explode to the upside. Does that make sense? So I know you want it to go now, but think long term. Don't think about next week or next month. Think about 5 years from now. You know, in 5 years from now, you're going to wish that the price would have came back down so that it could have, you know, if it goes up now, maybe it gets up to $6. But if it develops that spring and you sacrifice another month or so or more, you could get up to like $10 or whatever. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but anyway, so that's that count. That's the count that I want to happen. Okay, so now let's potentially look at what is happening. What is another scenario? So another scenario is that we had our 3-wave pullback, right? So this is a 1, 2, 3. Now we're going, and now we're ready to go, right? We're ready to go. Or another way to look at it, the same way to look at it is, let me do this here, go there. Another way to look at it is that this is a cup, right? This is a cup right here, and now we're developing the handle right here. And the handle just broke out, right? The handle just broke out. So now you want to come down and back test this area, and then we can go. So let me show you more what I mean on that. So let's go to the 4-hour chart. And okay, so here's our handle, right? Here's our cup, actually. Here's our cup right here. There's the cup, okay? And here is the handle right here. This is the handle. And look, it broke out perfectly. There's the handle. So, and look at this. Look at this. You had 5, right? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, but here's the problem, right? Here's the problem. You had 5 down, but then you have 3 up, right? So that would tell me that we need to come down. At least not maybe all the way down, right? We can come up here. So you see this area here? This is the low right here. That's the low. We broke out of the low. So now we could potentially come back down in 3, tag this area in here, right? And then go. So that's another way to look at it. We still get a pullback, but it's not as deep going way down there. Instead, we're coming in back testing. We're back testing the handle there. So let me remove all this. So basically, you know, this is your downward resistance line, and you broke out of this line right here. You broke out, right? So, you know, so now this is the big part. So let me show you this. This is the big part, right? This is the main part that could happen. So here's our retracement, and look where it landed. It landed right at, is that the 618? It's a 618, right? That's the 618 retrace. So it needs to get above here. It needs to get above 54 cents. It needs to get above 54 to 56, right? But it doesn't have to do that right now. It doesn't have to do that right this second, you know. So so that's one way to look at it. So just to recap real fast, we broke out, and now we might need to come down and back test this area, and then we can go. So I gave you 3 options, or I gave you 2 options. 1, we spring all the way down, then we go. That's option number 1. Option number 2, this was a cup and handle. Here's the handle. We broke out. Now we back test the handle, then we go. That's option number 2. The third option is, is right here. So we're in this type of channel, I guess, and retail's looking at this could be a bear flag. I don't think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. We have 5. We have a 3-way pullback. Back test this high right here. This is the top right here and right here. We have a 3-way pullback. We back test this top. We hold it as support. We consolidate for a little bit, and then we go to the moon. We go to the moon. So what would that look like? Right? If you want to be extremely wealthy, it has to do one of those things, right? That's the bullish side. And now look at it. Now look at it. Now it makes sense, right? Now doesn't that make sense? So what is this? This is a W pattern, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a W. And that is a very common thing in crypto. So in a W, you can have a channel right there. So a channel would get you way up there. It's not going to get up there in a straight line. It could take years to get up there. But when XRP moves, it really moves fast. I mean, you're looking at, $4 to $6, then $8 to $10, then maybe $13 to $15, then maybe $20 to $22, and then you're getting into that $26, $27, $30 area. That's the big target, right? For me. I'm not one of those people that think it's going to go to $10,000 overnight. I mean, it could. I'm not saying it's not, but you got to be in reality, There's no evidence that's going to happen. Or even $500, even $1,000. There's just no way that could potentially happen. I mean, it could eventually, right? If everything goes as planned and the banks and all that could happen. But in order for that to happen, it would mean to be in the multi-trillions of dollars, and crypto itself is not even a $5 trillion market yet. So, but that's later down the road. Let's get to $10 first, then we can start talking about other targets. My big target is $30. Is $27 to $30. That's the big target for me. Once we get there, I'm selling a good amount, right? Or lending it out or whatever. I haven't decided completely yet. But also, that doesn't mean it can't go even higher, right? He sold at 30 and it went to $100. I'm not selling all my XRP. Heck no. That is why you want time, right? This whole thing allowed me time to accumulate years, right? So if it gets to $30, doesn't mean I'm selling all of it. It means I might sell, 10, 20, 30% of it. And then we come back down and then you put more capital in. And then, you rinse and repeat, right? You're not going to just hold it until it gets to $100, right? So my lifetime goal for XRP is $100. That's my life. If I could get to $100, that would be every dream come true, right? I don't know if it's going to happen. Some people say, yeah, that's crazy. $100 is nothing. It's going to go to at least $589. It's going to go to at least $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever. And if that happens, hey, yeah, I'm not complaining about that one bit. But in order for that to happen, everything has to go right. I know all the conspiracy theories, and I know all the riddlers and there's so many people on Twitter, and what's the guy's name, Mr. Poole, and hey, could be totally true, and I will love it. But it all depends how the market moves, right? If it's going to go up fast and furious, then and we're already at $100 and I didn't have a chance to sell, then hey, that's fine. But we have to wait and see how the chart develops in this wave. And a lot of people in the $10,000 camp don't like charts. They say there's no reason to look at charts because it's all, manipulated and controlled anyway, and by the time it'll be overnight, essentially you're going to wake up and it'll be there. Hey, if that happens, I'm fine with that, and I'm not complaining at all, but I'm not going to bet the farm that that's going to happen, right? But I'll take $10, right? I'll take $20, I'll take $30, hell, I'll take $100. But once you get past 100, things start getting interesting. Because, for example, let's say you have 10,000 XRP and it gets to $100. Okay, that's great. But then in order for it to get to $200, it would need to double in market cap. So, like, I don't know what the market cap would need to be. Like, let's say it's 10 trillion. So it's at $10 trillion. So in order for it to get to $200, it would need to go to $20 trillion, right? Or something like that. I'm just using that as an example. I don't know. It could be a lot more. Or let's say XRP is at a $50 trillion market cap, and then in order for you to double your money, you would have to get to $100 trillion market cap. The percentages aren't there. It's like, for example, Bitcoin. If I buy Bitcoin at 50K, well, and I put $20 in, it would have to go to 100K just for me to get $40, right? So it's the percentages aren't there, right? So when XRP runs its course, remember, this is still very, very early. XRP is not the one all be all. I mean, it is now, but for example, if XRP hits $50 or $100, I'm going to be taking my capital out, some of it, not all of it, and I'm going to be looking for other coins that are under $20 billion market cap, right? That's the whole thing, market cap, right? If XRP is at a $10 trillion market cap, the percentages aren't there anymore. The return on investment isn't there anymore, right? It's like me buying Bitcoin at 50K and then it goes to 100K. Well, who cares? That's only a 2x. I want a 5x, I want a 10x, I want a 100x. So by the time XRP gets to that $50, $100 mark, could be years from now, then I'm going to start looking at other blockchains, because remember, we're still very early. We're still at the beginning of the beginning, right? You look at ADA and you look at Algorand and XLM and Matic and all these new, fairly new blockchains. Well, in 10 years from now, there's going to be even newer ones and better ones, or at least speculative ones, right? So that's the whole point, right? You make your money, you make the majority of your wealth in XRP, and then for me, I'm going to migrate that into other coins that have more potential, right? Have more potential. But I'm always going to hold my XRP. So like, let's say XRP hits $50 and there's this new coin that came out. There's this different, blockchain that came out, and it's super artificial intelligence, and it does all types of things, and it's the next new hype coin and whatever, and it's still under $5 billion. I might throw some money into that, and it can get to $20 billion, and I could 3 or 4x my money, right? Versus if I'm holding XRP and it gets to $100, you see what I'm saying? It's going to take more oomph for XRP to get to that, to get to those very, very high numbers, unless it happens instantly. Like they say, if it happens overnight, it happens instantly, they flip the switch and boom, it's there, then okay, then perfect, right? We sell off into the sunset. But if it takes time, years and years, for it to grind up, usually XRP likes to move XRP likes to move in torture, right? So it goes up and then you have sideways torture for years. Then it explodes up for like just a little bit of time. Everybody's super euphoric. And then it goes sideways for years. So when we go up in that massive way, you got to not think it's going to go to $10,000 or whatever. You got to take some profit, right? You got to take some off the table. And then once you do that, you'll be in a much better position. So it's all about rinsing and repeating. You want really good entries and exits, right? So the worst thing you can do is, like, let's say XRP hits $10 and then you sell it and then it goes to $15. Well, that's not too bad because it only went up. It didn't even double, right? So, I mean, it went up a lot, but it didn't even double its price, right? It would be worse if you sold XRP at $10 and then it went to $20. Then you could have, if you had 10 grand, you could have actually had 20 grand, right? So, things to think about like that. So just how you dollar cost average buying in here, you want a dollar cost average when you get up in here. See, the easy part, we're in the easy part. This is the easy part. Going sideways and accumulating. That's the easy part. People get depressed. Oh, how come it's not going up? But you guys don't understand. That's the easy part. When it explodes, that's when people get euphoric, but that's when I get nervous. That's when I start getting very scared. I start biting my fingernails. I start getting extremely, I don't like the feeling. It's like, oh my God, what's going to happen? So because I know at any moment that it can come up. Like, for example, let's say the price, everybody's expecting $10, right? Everybody's expecting $10. The price shoots up to $7 and then it comes right back down to 60 cents. That's the part where I'm trying to, like, okay, and then it just goes like this for a while and then it goes up. It could totally do that. So you're going to wish you would have sold in here. You were going to wish you would have sold in there, right? So that's the part where it's kind of like, what do you do? So you have to be very careful when the price moves up. How is it moving up? What do the pullbacks look like? What do the oscillators look like? Because if everybody's expecting $10 or $11, $13, chances are it's probably not going to hit that number. It's either going to exceed it or it's going to come short. So that's the part where you have to really have a plan on what you're going to do, because anything can happen. This is the easy part. We're in the very, very, very walk in the park part, right? This is like you're chilling at the beach and you're, just chilling, right? You're just drinking a drink, just chilling. This is like, when you start going up, this is like, okay, your flight's late. You're stuck at the airport. Now there's a storm coming and you forgot to lock your house. Oh no, what do you do? It just really depends. So I don't want to go on a large rant. I already did, but at the same time, we're in the easy part. We're getting close, right? Okay, so now I'm going to tell you the last scenario that could potentially happen that would be very devastating. What if this is a 1, 2, and now we're getting 3? And then we're going to backtest this high right here. Boom. And then we go. That could totally happen. Because if that happens, that means XRP lost the case, right? That would be a large ABC, right? So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, and then we explode. And then this would be like a channel, right? A descending channel. And we're just bouncing in this channel, and then we're going to go. So if this happens, we can go down to like maybe 3 cents or 4 cents or 5 cents. I know it sounds crazy. I hope that doesn't happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but you never know. This is all we know. This is a three-way move, right? The market moves in fives and threes. So if this is a three-way move, we land here. So if this happens, then Ripple lost the case. So let's say the Judge Torres, they come out and they say, oh, okay, the SEC won, Ripple lost, blah, 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 blah. Everybody sells their coins. Maybe a year goes by, then they go to trial, then they appeal it, and then they go to trial, and then they win in trial years later, and then they go up to the moon. That would be completely torture. But who knows? Maybe it could happen. Maybe it won't happen. I don't know. But I'm hoping that we can get a resolution and we can just go. But if we start crashing below the COVID low of 10 cents, then that's going to be very scary because you don't know what could happen. This thing can just go to zero. I'm not saying it's going to go to zero, but people might believe that it's going to go to zero because Ripple lost the case and we're below 20 cents. If Ripple loses the case, because the government is corrupt, the SEC is corrupt, and China, just like how China banned Bitcoin. Remember how China banned Bitcoin? Because they wanted to establish the petro yuan. Once they established the petro yuan, then they allowed Bitcoin to trade freely now. So maybe that's what they're doing with the XRP case. FedNow and the CBDC, like they want to wait until the Federal Reserve comes out with their CBDC because then they're going to allow crypto to trade freely. Because if you ask Gary Gensler, is Ethereum a security? Is XRP a security? Is Bitcoin a security? Is ADA a security? They're not going to tell you. Gary Gensler is a puppet by the central banks. He's not going to tell you what the deal is because the banks aren't ready yet, because the banks want to establish their CBDC first. Once they get that established, then they're going to say, okay, now that we have our FedNow, our CBDC established, now we're going to allow regulation. Because what they want to do is they want to establish their coin first and make sure that it's the almighty, all-powerful, and then let the little guys run, right? Just like how China did it. They banned Bitcoin. They came out with their petro yuan. They established it. Then they unbanned Bitcoin. So that could be what's happening with the SEC. So the Ripple case could have ended last year. It could have ended a year and a half ago, right? We don't know. So maybe they're telling the judge, don't give the decision out until we're ready. Because remember, judges are corrupt. They're all corrupt, right? They could be all corrupt. Not saying they are or they're not, but it's potentially, just look at Congress, look at the politicians. They're all crooked. We don't live in a people system. We live in a central banking fiat currency system. And that system is designed to enslave you using debt instruments. And debt is basically the tyrannical power of the deep state. So we'll see what happens. I'm not saying that, that's going to happen, but I'm just thinking you got to think all possibilities. It could be worst case scenario, it could be best case scenario, or it could be somewhere in between. But just remember one thing. If Ripple loses, don't sell your coins. Don't sell it. Just hold and buy more when it comes down, because eventually XRP will be allowed to run free. And if let's say XRP is the chosen one, do you think they want you to hold it? No. So if I'm the powers that be, how do I get you to sell your coin? I tell the judge, don't give a decision, or I tell the judge to make sure they lose. They lose the case, and then they lost the case, and then everybody sells their coins thinking that it's all over with. But in reality, it's just a trick. They're psyching you out. They want to make sure that you sell your position so that they can buy it at very low prices. So that would fall under the category that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, and a three-way pullback, and then we go. And what price is that? Like 1 cent, 5 cent, right? So you're going to sell your price. The deep state's going to buy it right here, and then they're going to take it up. That could potentially happen. So just always be on guard. Always understand the possibilities. Don't have expectations in your mind that this could happen. It could be a total disaster. But let's hope for the best and prepare for the worst, and let's crush it.